we all know the story of the game. Blake Henson, 9 for 15 from three. He came out and he rattled us for sure. But they brought the fight. They brought the fight, and we didn't have probably enough dog in us tonight to compete every single possession. I thought the first half we did a pretty good job with our ball movement, and the offense was clicking a little better, and probably got a little too stagnant in the second half, and didn't have that cohesiveness in the offensive end in the second half. But when a team comes in, makes 16 threes, that's hard to overcome. And thought we did a pretty good job limiting them on the offensive glass. They only had 6, and they didn't have any second chance points, but that's hard to overcome 16 threes.
Questions for Quinn first, please.
Quinn, so defensively, were there things you guys could have done better defending the three, or did they just hit shots?
I think you can always do a better job on defense. Coach Eilert said in the huddle, let's not hope they miss the shots, let's make them miss the shots. Like he said about this Henson kid, I'm not going to sit here and say we could have done something different on him. When the kid's feeling it, we just got to have him put the ball on the floor, shooting comfortably from half court. But that's his 6th, 7th three, leading up to it. I think Josiah Harris, I think he did a really good job on him, making him uncomfortable. He's a 23-year-old who's been playing college basketball for a very long time. So some of the stuff I do, like the rip-throughs to draw fouls, that's just experience. So I think you can always do a better job on defense. He shot the ball better than Kevin Durant does tonight. So is that us not, could have done something different, or just someone who came ready to play? And we couldn't have him get comfortable. We felt like we were there on a lot of shots. Some of the 3 points he would shoot, I was like, had the biggest smile on my face, like that's what we want. And then net, you know what I mean? 9 for 15, people don't even hit that when they're wide open. But there's no default on my teammates. I felt like they played pretty hard on him.
Quinn, kind of along those lines, like you said, sometimes a guy is just feeling it. All the games that you've played in different schools, have you ever seen a shooting performance like that? Giving all credit to the kid here.
Yeah, giving credit to the kid, and I know I'm mad, but yeah, I can look back on it. I've never seen it before. That's just credit to the kid. I've watched basketball a lot too, and he was pulling up from half court. Right. He's a great player, and we knew that coming in. He leads the country in 3-point makes, and we were trying to have him deck it. Side steps. We felt like we were there. Kid's an unbelievable player. Just unfortunately, you never want to say that, but we were there on a lot of these 3-point shots. Like going back, you can always do better on defense. But yeah, the game meant a lot to him. He was here. I think he was here last year, so he understands the history behind these things, and we just got to know a talented player like that. We really can't have him get comfortable. If he missed his first 3 shots, he wasn't going to pull for half on that 4th one. So credit to him. He put on a shooting performance that's going to get him paid. But we got to turn the page, and we play a really good Drexel team. So glad Cook was back, being able to help us, and when we get one of our point guards back, hopefully we get good news on Raekwon. We're still praying and still thinking positive about that. But yeah, there's only one way to think about this, and it's learn from it and try to get the next win.
That's what I was going to ask you next. What was it like to be in that moment when they announced a Cook, coming into the game? You probably heard the crowd.
Yeah, just so happy for him. That's like a good kid. I talk about my teammates' character so much. We got such great kids in this locker room, and Cook is just. He gets this scare. He doesn't know where his life is going to go. just like all of us. And he's in practice clapping and laughing with us and telling us, you need to dunk that. And, I mean, dude, I don't want to get emotional, but, man, I love that kid. And he's been through so much. And I'm just so happy for him. Obviously, this one's going to hurt, this game. But looking back, I'm so happy that the Cook came in and do what he loves. Like, we love basketball. That's been our life. It's the only thing we talk about. We dribbled the ball in the hallways in high school. Like that, this was our love. You know, to some kids, it's, oh, like he's just a stupid jock, always thinking about basketball. But, I mean, this is our life. And going back on Raekwon, I mean, I don't want to get too controversial, but, I mean, you're taking this kid's life away. This is what we do. So to see him back in his element as a basketball player, I'm just so happy for him. And, you know, we were praying for him. I'm just really glad that he was able to wear a jersey and compete with us.
Quinn, in trying to protect time on the court with your short numbers, you're probably not able to play as aggressive defensively as you'd like. Challenge one, a couple more shots a little more closely. Do you think that's affecting you either, front of your mind, back of your mind a little bit?
No, I got to defend better. I got to understand that there's two sides of. I know that there's two sides of the floor. They hit some tough shots tonight. I mean, they went on a little run where they got some layups, but I mean, the first half we were locking down the paint. They were getting nothing in the paint, and we were securing rebounds. I mean, everyone talked about we couldn't rebound, and I think we rebounded the ball really well today. There's some things that we can clean up towards the second half, just not getting so stagnant on offense. But I think we got good defenders on the team. The potential for defense is really high. But going back on what you said, I don't like bringing up our numbers, just because I feel like some of those things are mental. But I think Kobe Johnson, like, picking and being a defensive maniac for 36 minutes, it's pretty difficult for anyone to do.
Just kind of connecting the dots a little bit to knowing somebody could shoot like they did in this game potentially, and then knowing the numbers of the team. If you had a deeper bench, do you think maybe you could have been more aggressive, or what else do you do when someone's putting up Steph Curry threes out there? I think
in reality, yes. More players would just mean less exhaustion on everybody. Players can get some a couple more offensive rebounds, and I think we understand that, but we can't have that stuck in our head. We got to be able to compete, not think about our numbers. Even though it's the reality and it's something that people talk about a lot, it's not going to do any help us just kind of thinking about it. So I feel like we just need to come and just fight through it, and that's the word. It's fight, being resilient, and busting through that wall. I feel like, yeah, Steph Curry threes. I mean, he hit some tough shots, and I know you can say, hey, you need to be there a little quicker, but man, he played well tonight.
Is it fair to say maybe that aggression, or what would be the answer normally to try to stop them, something like that? Because obviously in the middle of a game, you're not just throwing the white flag. So
I don't think aggression was the problem with him. I think he got no open looks. I think he got maybe one or two. We made it tough on him. I mean, yeah, everyone's going to say this Hinskin kid came in and did this, which he did. But, I mean, he hit – I keep saying he hit some tough – and you can say even pressure. I mean, JoJo is there. Kobe Johnson, these kids are there on the catch. And I just don't want to sound like a broken record, but he played well tonight. And I think – coaches came up with a great defensive scheme for us to be able to slow him down and stop him. It's tough when you come out the gate. You knew he was going to have a little fire to him, just being a big rival game. And like I said, as a shooter myself, when I see my first two shots go in, that hoop becomes 3 times the size. And maybe if he missed his first 3, then this can be a whole different game. But shooting is really based off confidence, and like I said, you hit your first 2 shots. I mean, it's like shooting into an ocean.
Quinn, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Coach?
Sort of follow up, defensively, did you think you guys gave a decent effort performance and they just hit shots, or were there things you could have done better defensively?
Always things we can do better. You know, I talked on the radio before, like that is the matchup that I worried about the most. And I didn't see a guy on the roster that I say, okay, that's the one that can really slow him down, especially with his size and his skill set on the perimeter. It was certainly something going into the game that I was concerned about. You know, changing the defenses, I thought maybe we could throw them off a little bit, 2-3, maybe a 2-2-1, slow them down a little bit, and probably should have changed things earlier, you know, even in the first half. But we were right there with them early in the first half. Our offense probably just got too stagnant, and we certainly didn't make him. I mean, credit to him, 9 for 15, but we didn't obviously make him uncomfortable whatsoever. You know, we can look back at all his shots and we'll review it and take a look at what we can do better. But I told those guys in there, I need to get you guys out of there. We got to flush this. We got to flush it quick. We got to turn the page. We got Drexel on Saturday, and they're they're a really good team that just went into Villanova and got a win. So they're going to be playing with confidence too. We can't have let down on Saturday.
Coach, obviously, you know, like you said, Henson's performance stands out. But, you know, Carrington, a couple of his threes were step back, kind of like I think one of them was on 1 foot, you know, that kind of stuff. When that's happening, I mean, you know, 2-3 man, I mean, is there any, I mean, there's some of that stuff, there's nothing you could do, you could do, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, the game is all about momentum and confidence, like Quinn was saying. I mean, last year we had that, you know, in their house, and things were going our way early, and we built that momentum, and we fed off of it, and they saw shots fall early, and they built that confidence, and that momentum snowballed in their direction, and you know, Blake by himself hit 3 times as many threes as our entire team. You know, we were 3 for 20, and I don't know, you know, how I can fix that with our guys. You know, even, you know, I don't yell that much. Probably yelled at Seth. I was like, Seth, you got to take open shots. What are we doing? That's what you're out there to do. You get an open look, you got to take it. And JoJo, same thing in the corner. I mean, we can't be taking. You know, it's too hard a game at this level to turn down open shots. And when they're there, you got to shoot it with confidence. They're shooting it with confidence on that other end. We got to shoot it with confidence.
Coaches, to that end, with Seth in particular, is there anything else you feel like that could be done? Because it's been several games in a row now where the same thing's said, not taking open shots. It's kind of still an ongoing thing now midway through this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably stare at the ceiling tonight and figure out how I can do a better job coaching him. I do it every night, trying to figure out, you know, what can I do to, you know, I'm not the type of guy that's going to tear him down whatsoever, and I'm always the guy that's trying to build him up. And but obviously that's not resonating right now, and he's in a slump. You know, we thought we got JoJo out of the slump after that last game, and you know, he was 0 for 5, 0 for 4 from 3. So it continues to kind of linger a little bit with all these guys, and so.
Are there any numbers of shots you would like these guys to take? Like you mentioned 0 for 5. Would you rather see an 0 for 8 rather than 0 for 4 or something like that?
No, I mean, it's just they gotta flush misses. I mean, I think it's a confidence thing.
Josh, you hinted yesterday that a cook was coming soon. Obviously, soon was today. So what'd you think of his performance? Obviously, his conditioning's not quite there yet, but what'd you think of him overall?
No, he gave us a defensive spark. That's kind of his forte. He's a guy that you can do a lot more things, especially in ball screen coverage. You can switch with him. He can sit down and guard guards, and he can help us protect the rim. He's active. He really runs the floor well. I think we can utilize him in offensive transition. But you know, you could see out there he is limited because he hadn't been cleared. But for, you know, 3 or 4 days. So there's certainly we weren't gonna with his, he's not in game shape yet. So 7 minutes, 8 minutes is probably top for him at this point right now. So that's going to continue to improve. But we certainly don't want to force the issue with him to make sure we're doing right by him, and that's first and foremost.
Sounds like you've known for a couple of days then that he had been.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it was a day by day situation. We're any hiccup could have in game preparation and practice would have certainly hindered that. So, did I know for sure that he was going to be going today? No. But leading into it, he had good, solid through 2-3 days of practice, and that's limited as well, trying to figure out where he's at. So, we got to a point where we thought we could use him for a limited amount of time. We're going to use him, and that's.
Take us through the moment, like, does the call come from a doctor and to you or to him?
I can't get into all that medical stuff in terms of, his rights. So
At some point, someone says it's okay, and what was that moment? I mean, there's got to be a moment of jubilation, joy.
Oh yeah, I mean we're so happy for the kid. Like Quinn said, so much of these guys' life is built around the game of basketball, and the fear of him losing that, just like it's going on with Ray right now. The fear of him losing basketball is crushing. It's crushing, especially with even going back to Ray with mental health and so much of his hope and positivity is built around the game, and it almost seems like that he's being forced to choose between an education and the game of basketball, because there's all kinds of people reaching out to him to try to get him to go a different direction, and education is important to him. And the fact that we haven't got the go ahead on him is a complete shame.
Going back to the George Mason, you had a Cook in your starting lineup that night. Do you think there is a chance or possibility down the road, kind of getting him back into that kind of role, or things change now?
I mean, I can't look that far ahead. I mean, I'm going to go day by day and figure out what puts us in the best position. And right now, Quinn's in a way better spot for us at the 4, so we're going to go with Quinn.
Josh, if I can go back for a second, you said something that caught my attention. People are reaching out to Raekwon to try to get him to go in a different direction.
There's a lot of people in the game of basketball that want to profit off kids, and certainly he can make money playing basketball. I don't think that's a secret. He's a very good basketball player. So, yes, I've had conversations with his mother and himself, people that want to profit off him, agents in particular that continue to hit him up, that try to pull him away so he can play the game of basketball. So, from my standpoint, what makes zero sense is, does a kid have to choose between education and basketball? He wants basketball in his life, and he wants an education. So here we are in a point to where, he has to make that decision. And right now, he's holding on to the hope that, that something will change here and he can play basketball and still get his education.
Forgive me if I'm reading between the lines, but it sounds like time is ticking here.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's got a really good head on his shoulders, and it's important. He's in a really good space here. But don't think for 1 second not having the game of basketball in his life isn't dragging him down. And he thrives on hope and optimism, and right now he's holding on as much hope as possible that the NCAA will make a decision on him and allow him to play. And it doesn't just affect him, it affects everybody on the team. I mean, we sit here and, game prep each and every week, thinking we're going to get some news, and it just seems to be drug out and drug out and drug out.
Coach, you mentioned doing right by the kid and then kind of what you're saying now about Raekwon. Is there at all any wrestling for you, or eventually you'd have to tell the kid it might just be best for you to give up WVU because it's just not going to happen?
No, I'm not. Never would I do that. I mean,
Just mean like if it's best for him eventually, if you just think this waiver is not going to get turned around.
I don't think I'd ever tell a kid that education is not important. and there's time for basketball. But don't think for a second there ain't people out there trying to pull them in a different direction, pull them away from education.
Josh, when the team is, I guess, scuffling right now, you said confidence a couple times, just consistency. What do you go to? Like when you call timeouts and try to get things back on track, do you feel good enough about 1, 2, 3 things to say, all right, we can get to the next timeout, we can get a run going, and where do you begin?
Each scenario is different, wherever we're at in the point in the game, and try to go to the hot hand and try to go to the mismatch that we think that we might have defensively, So I thought we'd have a advantage down low with Jesse, and I think they realized, as the game played out, that they were going to double him, and they were effective with it. And if we can't, capitalize off these double teams, we're going to continue to struggle. And usually, when you get those that ball movement out of the double team, you're going to get open shots, and we got to knock down shots when that's the case. And if I'm going against us, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to continue to double team and be as physical as possible with Jesse Edwards, and that's going to be people's game plan. It's just that's the way it is right now.
Coach, thank you.